What's up, Dead Drawers? Darren here. I've got some great news for you. You can get yourself your own brand new shiny box of Forbidden Light if you send us a message as soon as possible. We are almost out of our pre-ordered allotment for Forbidden Light booster boxes. So we just wanted to make sure that everyone that listens to our podcast got a chance to get themselves a box of Forbidden Light. If you do recall, Ultra Prism, very hard to find. That may be the case for Forbidden Light as well, so you don't want to miss out on your chance to get your box now before you can't find them in stores. So yeah, hit us up, send us a message, and we'll get you hooked up. Enjoy the podcast.
What's up, Dead Drawers, and welcome to episode number 79 of Dead Draw Gaming, a Pokemon TCG podcast like no one ever was. We have a super exciting episode for you guys today, so if you are hyped just like we are, make sure to hit that like button down below and share this podcast with all of your friends. But before we get too far into things today, guys, we're going to go ahead and introduce you to my co-hosts who are with me every single week. Hello, Danny. Hello, Darren. What is going on today, boys?
Hello, Darren here, and I am very excited that Dan's back. Oh, hooray.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, this is great. I'm doing just fine. I'm excited to talk about all the Pokemon Go stuff. There's a ton. There's so much. Danny, how are you?
What's going on? I'm good. I'm okay. I'm good. I'm stressed. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. I'm tired. I got a new camera. We got a new camera. I mean, I have it, but we got a new camera, and it's super cool. We got it from Pokemon and Wife. It's really cool. It's much better than what we had. It's a lot heavier than what I thought it would be.
That's probably a good thing, though, right?
I don't know. Do you judge a camera's effectiveness based off of its weight compared to its size ratio?
I feel like I would, yeah. I feel like you pick something up that's heavy and you're like, well, this is good quality, just kind of like automatically, right?
I don't know. I recorded myself for a minute just testing it, and I was like, wow, I look good. I don't know if the camera really matters for that, but
I don't think so. I think you look good regardless.
Oh, thanks. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm doing well. It's good to be back again after missing last week, so I'm glad to not miss another episode. Good things. Good vibes.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. What are we talking about tonight?
We're going to start off this week the same way we do every other week with the Pokemon news, and then we're going to jump into the spice this week. Our Pokemon events oversaturated. We are seeing some notable drops in attendance at recent ones. We'll talk about that, and then we're going to talk about a little bit about DDG. Are we as big as we want to be? Why or why not? And then we will get into our weekly top 5, where we're going to talk about dual typings. Then we will get into our question of the week, our buy sale trade of the week, our open discussion, and our wrap. I will pass it on over to Darren this time, because I bet there's some Pokemon Go news. Actually, I know there is. At least
Man, there's so much. This is a crazy week for anyone that's playing Pokemon Go. Boy, oh boy. If you've opened the game, you may have noticed that there are quite a few Pokemon missing that normally show up. In their place, we have all Generation 1 Pokemon for the next 6 days from now. So like until April 17th, we have all Gen 1 Pokemon. To top it off, we also are getting double candy for all of our catches. And boy, throwing that pineapple berry is amazing, because you're grabbing 12 candy off of one basic Pokemon when you catch it. Oh my gosh. It's
I feel
crazy.
like we're living in the past.
We are certainly.
Did we rewind time? Why is that? Is it just a little marketing thing that they're doing? Or?
The press release is that with the appearance of Mew, Generation 1 Pokemon have been drawn out from the wild and have taken over Pokemon Go.
Oh.
I just feel like higher spawn rates would have been better.
You know what?
Completely getting rid of 2 and 3, right?
Yes, they are completely gone.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, it'll be over in 6 days or whatever. And but honestly, this is an opportunity for a lot of people to finish out their Gen 1 Pokédex. I know I personally am missing 3 or 4 still, so this is actually great for me. I'm finally going to also be able to get my super hype Gyarados evolved. Because I do have one, but it's crap. Like, it's not very good. So I'm going to have a really good one now. And I'm going to be able to, finish out the rest of my Gen 1 Pokedex, including the Moltres I caught last weekend. Oh my gosh.
I didn't catch a Moltres.
So, this is really cool, guys. We talked about it last week. If you finish up your research quests, you will find a legendary Pokemon. And last week it was Moltres. Hopefully this week, when I finish mine up in a couple days, it will be a different legendary bird.
Did you start playing when the legendary birds got released again, or released the first time? Is that when you started playing again?
No, I wasn't playing at the time when raids came in. Maybe I was, but I think raids were a lot harder. Right when they came out, you had to be like level 30 or 35 even. I don't remember. You had to be a really high level to even raid in the first place, and then they bumped it down to you had to be like level 5 to raid. So it really opened it up.
I think it was 25 on release.
Okay, so there you go. I was not. I don't think. Maybe I was.
I wasn't either. I just, for some reason, remember it being 25.
Well, I'm 31 now, and I'm definitely a raider. I'm still working on my Mew quest. Mew has not shown himself to me, but that's okay because I haven't put in the effort, honestly. I've been working on other stuff, and I went and did other life stuff. So, in any case, Pokemon Go news. They've also are you ready for this? Kanto Johto Shiny Sprites confirmed. So that means every Gen 1 and 2 Pokemon will be shiny catchable, hopefully. It's time. I'm very excited for this. And
that's actually really cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it'll give the people who have already filled their Pokedex and don't care about battling something to do.
Yes, absolutely
very
right.
Cool. I like that a lot.
Ooh, okay. So breaking news. Your second field research breakthrough is still Moltres. So it looks like it might be a multi-week thing. Maybe it'll be per month, or maybe it will coincide with raids as they change over. But it looks like Moltres is going to be the research Pokemon legendary. Bop bop. Oh, hey, also big news with this. This release, the raid bosses have been changed up, so you can catch Gen 1 Pokemon in raids like Aerodactyl, Kabutops, Onix, and your lures will last 6 hours. So all great stuff. This is a great week to get out. The weather hopefully will be nice in your area. We are probably getting snow, so that kind of blows. But get out there, get yourself some Pokemon, get yourself twice the candy or 4 times the candy when you use your pineapple berry. So lots of fun to be had in Pokemon Go.
I only open up Pokemon Go when you're talking about it while we're recording. That's the only time every week that I open it. And surprisingly, at my kitchen table, there's never any Pokemon for me to catch. And I think that's why I get frustrated, and I'm like, that's it. I'm not opening this app anymore.
Sorry, Danny.
We need a Pokemon stay.
You draw me interested, and then it fails me.
I actually, Darren, I don't know what you're doing today, but I got out of. It was about 1:30, and I got out to my car, and the thermometer in my car said 61 degrees. I was like, I just text Darren, see if he wants to play Pokemon Go, and then I didn't. And
that's good. That's a good thing because I was at work from woke up at 5:30 and then didn't get home till 8, so I was busy.
Oh well, now I don't feel as bad.
Anyway, Danny, what else have we got going on for news this week?
Yeah, there's a lot of news, but not a whole lot of, Pokemon card leaks, not a whole lot of that. because the English scans are all coming out now for Forbidden Light. So for the most part, everything is pretty slow, except for there's a lot of news that's not Pokemon TCG related. We're going to start out with Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. This is really the only piece of information that I have as it pertains to the video game. But there are details for the next battle competition that have been announced. This is the Ultra Kalos Classic competition. This is a single battle competition where players can only use Pokemon from the Kalos Pokedex and prohibits use of Xerneas, Yveltal, Zygarde, Mewtwo, Diancie, Hoopa, Volcanion, Alolan forms, and Ash Greninja. No Z crystals can be used either. All Pokemon will be raised to level 50 for the duration of the competition. Registration runs from April 19th to April 26th. Battles will run from April 27th to April 29th, and all entrants will get the 50 battle points. You can specially download the rules that are now available for this competition, and our battle competition page has been updated to list all of the eligible Pokemon. This is on Cerebi. Other than that, as far as Pokemon, the video game goes, there's not a whole lot. So we can jump into some of the other news, and there was quite a bit of stuff involving a brand new Pokemon that's coming out.
Ooh, this is very exciting stuff.
So the Pokemon's, I'm not certain on how to say this. But Zeraora officially revealed in the movie 21 trailer, starring with Lugia. It is the Thunderclap Pokemon. It'll star in the 21st film that releases in Japan on July 13th. It's a lightning, and I was just reading this somewhere. We've known about this Pokemon coming out for they started mentioning it right when Ultra Sun, even before Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon came out. This came out and all the code leaks and everything. So, but Pokemon's official announcement on it just came out. So it's definitely a cool looking Pokemon.
Yeah, it's almost like a cross between Lucario and Manectric, it looks like. So
Yeah,
Zeraora is an electric-type Pokemon that gathers electric energy from outside sources, emitting strong electrical currents from the pads on its hands and feet to create a powerful magnetic field. Zeraora uses the magnetic field to levitate and move through the air with extreme speed. This mythical Pokemon is said to be so fast that its maximum speed is the same as that of lightning strikes. When using massive amounts of electric energy for a powerful attack, Zeraora's fur stands on end all over its body. So it is a Thunderclap Pokemon. It's a little bit shorter than me at 4'11", and it weighs 98.1 pounds. Interesting. In Ultra Sun, it electrifies its claws and tears its opponents apart with them. Even if they dodge its attack, they will be electrocuted by the flying sparks. And in Ultra Moon, it approaches its enemies at the speed of lightning, then tears them limb from limb with its sharp claws. So watch out for that.
Yeah, that's pretty gruesome.
Mm-hmm. So Zeraora has been all over the place recently. It was on Korokoro, and then it was released in the trailer for the upcoming Pokemon movie.
Nice. I like this. It's like you said, it's a cat on two legs. It's kind of like a cat Lucario. So it's probably going to have some. It probably will be able to talk. Probably just telepathically. I'm excited. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they just took Wolverine from X-Men and turned him into a Pokemon.
Yeah, I can see that.
This is pretty close.
So Zeraora coming out. Pretty cool. There is some bigger news. I want to save that, though, involving pre-release kits. So we're going to jump over to Celestial Storm. Darren, do you want to talk about that?
Why, yes, I do. Our brand new, super amazing set coming out after Forbidden Light, right? Our SM7 here is Celestial Storm. It will hit shelves on August 3rd, and will have more than 160 cards. The set will feature Rayquaza GX, Stakataka GX, from the Charisma of the Wrecked Sky. I always laugh at Stakataka. That's such a great name for a Pokemon. As well as Articuno GX, Blaziken GX, Scizor GX, and Salamence GX. Latios, and Jirachi are confirmed for the set, presumably originating from Japan's SM7, as it's a Hoenn-themed set. According to PokeBeach here, Celestial Storm will include 11 Pokemon GX, 3 Ultra Beasts, new Prism Star cards, 27 trainers, and Rainbow Energy is getting another reprint.
27 trainers. Does that include like full arts and stuff?
I would assume.
Okay, because otherwise that's a lot of trainers.
Well, this is 160 cards is a lot of cards.
Still,
that has to include secrets, right?
Yeah, that it usually doesn't when that's the first initial number that comes out. I wonder, so new Prism cards, 27 trainer cards, and a Rainbow Energy. So I wonder if there's going to be reprint trainer cards.
Okay.
Like Choice Band could come back because we haven't had a reprint of that yet. I wonder if there's going to be like some of the stuff that just came out in Ultra Prism could get reprinted again. Like you could have a Volkner or Looker or Cynthia or something like that. And I wonder if this is the set where Rainbow Energy comes out as a secret rare.
Hey, that would be great.
We haven't had that one yet.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that idea.
The other thing about Celestial Storm is that this is the set that will be legal the weekend of Worlds. I think that's usually how it works.
Oh, this is our World set.
Last year, it was Burning Shadows that came out right before Worlds, and then Gardevoir went on to win. And the year before, in the Seniors Division, Yanmega came out in Steam Siege, and then
it was
went on
Steam
to win.
Siege, and Talonflame was big, and that was crazy.
And it's always kind of a toss-up because you never know if people are actually going to be playing the new set because there's not going to be much time to test it. So a lot of people go with what they know already. So it'll be interesting to see what Celestial Storm all brings to the table. No Primeape GX.
There's a new Ludicolo, though, so, I mean, not new, but probably a reprint of some sort. Still. New Ludicolo, though.
Ludicolo is Ludiculo.
My favorite Ludicolo in the video game, I named him Ludiculous.
That was your nickname for it?
That was his name. That's what, yeah. Ludiculous.
I've literally never given one of my Pokemon a nickname in the game.
Wow.
It's just not my thing. We also have the Forces of Nature Premium Collection coming out. This comes out in July. So as with the Legends of Johto GX Premium Collection, it'll come with a never-before-seen foil promo card of both Tornadus and Thundurus GX, a collector's pin and coin featuring a Landorus, a jumbo promo featuring all 3 legendary Pokemon, 6 booster packs, and a PTCGO code card. Tornadus, Thundurus GX, Entei GX, and Raikou GX have not debuted in Japan yet, but will be likely releasing in an upcoming set. So this is... We just got a Johto box that came out last week. It was the one with Raikou and Entei, and then had the Suicune pin, and then had the Jumbo, and then it had a pack of... I think it had 2 packs of Ultra Prism, 1 pack of Burning Shadows, 1 pack of Crimps... No, 1 pack of Sun and Moon base, and then Evolutions and Breakpoint. Going off the top of my head, I only opened up 9 of them.
Evolutions.
Yeah, I did not open up any of those packs.
No.
Just left those sealed. It's like, we'll just... Not really anything I want to pull out of that set right now.
New.
I do like the Jumbo from that box. Didn't get a whole lot of good pulls, unfortunately.
Dang.
Which is too bad. So there's 2 bigger bits of news. Dan, do you want to cover the new theme park that's coming out? This is super cool.
Heck yeah, I want to cover the new theme park that's coming out. So it is leaked that a Pokemon attraction will be coming to Universal Studios in Orlando in 2020. The Pokemon theme portion will be added to the Kids Zone section of Universal. While originally Universal was going to use this section of the park for upcoming Nintendo attractions, those will now be moving to a different plot of land across the street. So it sounds like we will still be getting those also. Like the Harry Potter section, the Pokemon section will be designed in Orlando and may make its way to other Universal locations. As reported last year, new Nintendo attractions will be added to Universal in Japan and California by 2023, so Pokemon may follow suit. News of the Pokemon section is currently a secret as it's still in planning stages. More information likely won't be available for a while. Japan did experiment with Pokemon theme parks in the past. In 2005, there was a Poke Park that featured roller coasters and interactive games. It's a temporary park that was only open from March of September in '05. And the plot of land at Universal is going to be smaller than what was at Poke Park. But however, I mean, it's going to see very obvious success, and you'd imagine that it would grow, right? But regardless, this is awesome. This is super cool news. And does this maybe mean that we get a real Pokemon Center in the United States?
Ooh, actually, maybe.
I think that I don't know. I don't think so. I think that there'll be some version, almost like a knockoff type thing, in the actual theme park. So I remember going to Harry Potter World when it opened, or whatever it was called when it first opened, and it was a smaller portion than what it is now because it got revamped and redone, and they added on a bunch of stuff. But it was really cool walking in, because I love Harry Potter, walking in and just feeling, the feeling that overcomes you when you walk in and you see all this cool stuff that you read from the books and you watched in the movies, and you see it come to real life. And it's just part of who you are growing up that just comes to fruition. And seeing it in front of you was such a big deal for me. And it was awesome. And I haven't been back since then. But I feel like it'll probably be a similar thing. I wonder what they're going to do as far as target audience goes, because you would think that this would go more towards the younger generation. So like in Orlando, Universal Studios is split up into two different theme parks, basically. There's Universal Studios, and then there's Islands of Adventure. Harry Potter World is in Islands of Adventure. I wonder if this would open up more in the Universal area, or in Islands of Adventure, there's also, I guess I don't remember if it's still there or not, but Seuss World, Dr. Seuss World. I wonder if it'll replace something like that, and this would be targeted more towards the younger audience.
But even if there's like those interactive games, or even like carnival games, Pokemon related, or like prizes, and like just, I don't know. I think that like even if it's geared towards adults, how much of even if it's geared towards children, how much of Pokemon is already geared towards children, and we still talk about it every day?
I think you're thinking more of like a Six Flags type location where they would have games and stuff like that. Universal doesn't have a whole lot of games.
I bet they would have something. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of games because like it, Universal and Disney and all this other stuff is their movie franchises. Pokemon is a game franchise. I'd imagine there's got to be something.
Might be. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I think that the important thing for me to take out of this is that there has been enough interest that this kind of cements Pokemon in the franchise into a much longer lasting franchise.
Absolutely.
Because when you build a theme park, you're kind of gauging success being a long-term thing. You're not going to build a theme park that's only going to make it 5-6 years and then die out. This is something that's going to attract the younger audience and then continue to build them up, because they're going to remember, I went on a vacation to, the Pokemon world in Universal, and it was amazing, and I loved every second of it, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to watch the show, and I'm going to want to get into competitive, and then your juniors grow, and your seniors grow, and hopefully your masters then grow as people continue throughout the game. And I'm hoping something like that will help cement it into a long-term dynasty type thing. Because that's the fear of a business like this. You always worry about things dying out. Like Pokemon hit a low around right before Nintendo bought it out from Wizards of the Coast. I mean, it was low, and it took Nintendo a long time to get back into where it is now. Like, we didn't see, you guys played in Black and White. I don't know if you were both around for Diamond and Pearl or Heart Gold, Soul Silver, but at the beginning of Black and White and those previous few years, those previous few seasons, I mean, attendance numbers were super low compared to where they are at now.
Yeah, it was, when I started playing, the events locally were sizable enough, but yeah, you're right. It exploded, and especially on the national stage and internationally, of course.
The first regionals I went to had 192 players.
See, that's super small.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the first one I went to was Madison, and that was like 290 or something. And that was considered a decent size back then, whereas now it's like common that you'll hit that 1,000 master threshold. Granted, prize support is much different now, and the game has evolved a lot. So that's pretty cool.
Certainly true.
But yeah, this is cool. We should take a road trip down to PokeWorld in 2020.
Absolutely. 100%. Yes.
I'm just assuming it's going to be called PokeWorld. I don't know what it's really going to be called. We'll just call it that for now. Darren.
Here I am.
I want you to talk about this next section.
Oh
the
my
bigger
gosh.
Section.
I'm so excited.
I guess I can just say quick, there's some new Ultra Pro, Ultra Ball products that are coming out. Ultra Ball apparently is just going to keep staying in the format forever. So they're getting a playmat, deck box, pack of card sleeves, 4-pocket portfolio, 9-pocket portfolio, and traditional binder with 2 D-rings. This is going to come out on July 31st. I like the design because Ultra Ball has a cool design, but other than that, it's not really anything that I'm that excited about.
I think the playmat's really cool.
It is cool. It would be a lot cooler if it said Dead Draw Gaming on it. I don't know why it doesn't, but
that
Those
would be a lot
goofs.
I guess that's
Let's buy the
something I'll
rights to
bring up
Ultra
with
Ball.
Pro. To Ultra Ball or Ultra Pro? All
Both.
right, fair enough. All right, Darren, you know what I want to talk about, so I'll let you just introduce it.
Pre-release kits will now be sold at retailers like GameStop, Walmart, I'm sure. Big box stores, I'm sure they will have them. This is crazy. Okay, so according to PokeBeach here, we've received word that certain retailers will begin selling Forbidden Light build and battle kits on May 4th, which is the same day that Forbidden Light hits store shelves. Each kit will retail for $19.99. This will be the same as a pre-release kit that you would get at a pre-release tournament. So it's a 23 card evolution pack featuring key cards from current and prior sets, including one of four alternate art promos, 4 Forbidden Light booster packs, and 1 deck building tip sheet. So basically this means that you will be able to get your pre-release kit, your pre-release promos, without actually going to an event. This also opens it up to holding your own events, and if they keep up with putting out these build and battle kits, this opens up the ability for you to have pre-release events with multiple pre-release decks from different sets. I think this is pretty cool. Also, this is probably why the basic energy boxes are going to be sold in stores. It's so people will be able to buy their energy that they will need for their own personal pre-release events. But I guess we really can't call them pre-release events if they're coming out the same day as the release. So let's call them sealed events. It would just be a sealed deck event.
So the reason that I really love this is because there has been this giant uptick in people just going to events and paying the $20 or whatever, going to pre-releases, paying the $20, taking the pre-release kit and just leaving, like not even playing. And I guess to each their own. But then there's also been a lot of drama almost where judges or store owners or whoever the case may be are not even holding a pre-release event and just selling the pre-release boxes. Because they're like, well, why put the work in if I can just basically make the same amount of money selling these boxes,
Right.
on the street. And this basically eliminates that for a little bit, kind of. Not completely, but it does eliminate it a lot. There's a lot of people on social media sites looking for pre-release kits. And I remember when I posted our Forbidden Light pre-order, and multiple people commenting and say, are you going to be selling the Forbidden Light pre-release kits? And my answer to all of them was no. Like, why would I do that? That's totally not allowed. And that's, to me, it should be highly frowned upon. Are there consequences that you could get into for that?
Oh,
There's
yeah.
got to be, right?
Yes, yeah. Yes, you can lose your ability to hold events for Pokemon at your store.
Yeah, that needs to be cracked down on because that's ridiculous. The fact that this one comes out on May 4th, which is the release day of the set, there's still going to be pre-release events because you get your pre-release box the week before or 2 weeks before. So they would still technically be, as long as Pokemon continues to release these pre-release kits or these sealed kits on the release day. Like this is just another thing that comes out. You get the booster pack that comes out, you get the ETB that comes out, you get those 3-pack blisters that come out,
Right.
and you get now a sealed box or a pre-release box, whatever you want to call it. As long as Pokemon continues to do that and doesn't like, hey, Walmart, here you go, you get these 2 weeks early.
Right. That would suck.
Mm-hmm.
No, I guess what I meant, I didn't mean that, pre-release events are going away because that's still going to be the soonest that you can open a set as an average everyday Pokemon player would be going to a store and playing at an event at the game store. But like this, these build and battle kits will make it so on release day, you and your friends can each go and buy one of these and have yourselves a little 4-player mini event. It's interesting. I like it.
Do you think that they'll make, do you think, I guess it kind of says this, but I wonder if they'll make different pre-release kits that are these build and battle kits, like if these will be different at all? Because you go to a pre-release event and you get the stamped promo when you go.
Right.
Will these be included in that or will they eliminate that?
It does say you get the alternate art promo, but I don't know if it'll be stamped. It probably will be, right?
I imagine it's the same one.
And that kills the value of some of those.
I think so.
I mean, there's really only been one that was worth anything, right?
No, there's been multiples that are worth quite a bit, or quite a bit more than what you would get from a normal, like Lucario that just came out in Ultra Prism. That was a $10, $12 card, as opposed to the Holo Rare, which was $4. So that's a 300% difference. It's a big deal. Volcanion was high. And even some of the older ones, like some of them are decent in price. The Gyarados one from
sure. Yep.
Was that Ancient Origins, that was decently priced. Yanmega was decently priced.
As far as I'm aware, there's still going to be staff promos for actual events. So those are always going to be, the most sought after pre-release promo.
Yeah. Think of all the Evolutions ones that came out. Like all those pre-release promos were decently high if those were easily accessible. Like the Charizard one, I mean, it still sells for $50 to $60. Go to Walmart, spend $20, take a gamble.
Right.
So it's just another way that they kind of oversaturate the market.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other thoughts you guys have on this?
No, I think this is super cool.
I really like it. I think I might actually use these at some point because, I'm not a PTO, so I can't just order my own pre-release kits for events that I want to run at my league. And my league that I'm at, the store isn't approved for pre-releases yet. So, I mean, I could just go and buy them myself. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Have a little pre-release party the day of.
Exactly. Yeah. Neat.
Awesome. All right. Well, with that, we can move into our spicy topic for the week. So there's been some discussion over the last couple of weeks about Pokemon events, and we have a little bit of a lull right now as far as major events go. There's a regional this weekend in Germany that's going on, but nothing in the United States, and there hasn't been for the past couple of weeks, and there won't be for the next couple of weeks. The next one that we have is Utah, which is the beginning of May, I think.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple weeks yet before regionals start back up in the United States. But there are League Cups going on right now, and attendance numbers have dropped significantly from where they were at the beginning of the season. So there's been some questions from people asking, is the market oversaturated for events? Because there's a lot of pre-releases that are, or there's a lot of League Cups that are going on right now. League challenges are few and far between. Most places are going to run a League Cup. They're not going to run a League challenge, just because they're going to draw in a higher attendance crowd. Why do you think, do you guys think that the market is oversaturated as far as events go right now? And that's why there's a decrease in numbers?
No. Decrease in numbers is going to happen especially for things like League Cups, the longer the season goes on, and then it will pick back up right at the end of the year when someone's like, oh my gosh, I need 8 more points to get my invite. We see this literally every year, where attendance and numbers, like even previous years, when we had city championships, those numbers dropped too throughout the year because more people were getting their invite. It was less reason for them to go. They weren't chasing top 16. They're like, well, I only need 20 more points. Why do I need to play in all these League Cups in the middle of the year? There's no reason. I don't think it's oversaturated at all. I think if anything, it's at a really good amount of tournament. And if anything, like those numbers of like dropping attendance, this is the time that those people that are just like, oh my gosh, I need 20, or like I need 20 points, just go get it. Take the rest of the year off, or just slow it down. Don't worry about it. I don't really think there's anything new. I don't think oversaturation is a thing.
I think that's a great point. You're absolutely right that attendance tapers off at this point in the year, generally. It's also important to note that this part of the year is also really important for a large constituency of Pokemon players, especially competitive players. Many of them are in high school, in college, young adults. So this is a really, really important time for many people, especially if they're going to school. A lot of life stuff going on for people. And I think it's kind of great that Pokemon puts this regional break in here so that people can focus on life stuff for a little bit before they get back into the game and finish out the rest of the season. As far as your comment earlier, Danny, about League Cups versus League Challenges, you're absolutely right that League Cups are prioritized. The reason, personally, that I've always prioritized League Cups is because of manpower and time allotment. Like, if you're running challenges and cups, you're having an event pretty much every week if you have more than one league in your area. So, like in Fargo, we had 3 leagues. We were approved. By the time I moved, we were approved for cups and challenges at all of them. So that would have been 6 events a month, which is just impossible for 2 TOs and 3 judges to keep up with. And, that's just oversaturation. That's oversaturation for sure for a lot of players. There is always a constant debate amongst us in the professorship about whether or not we have too many leagues or we have too many events already. And the numbers always supported the amount that we did. I feel like we were always right on the cusp of too much,
I do know what you're talking about. So I have a question for you guys. What point total do you think you would have to be at right now to tell yourself, hey, you know what? I'm still in this. I still have a realistic chance.
There's a whole nother quarter left. That's a potential 100 points from cups, right? So I would say if you're around 300, if you're like within 10 or 20 points of 300 either direction, you're still in the running.
Yeah, I'd say 300 is comfortable. 250 you're sweating. 200 you gotta do something huge. And less than 200 I'd not necessarily look at packing up the season because you never know what might happen. But
we're still in season 3, aren't we?
Or anything.
We're in quarter 3 right now. Yes.
Quarter 4 begins on May 18th.
Okay.
So we got about a month left.
You still have potentially 4 League Cups that you could win.
Yeah, if you have 0 League Cup finishes so far this quarter, then that's a potential 200 points.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say 200, you're still in it. 100, you're sweating it really bad.
But see, not every person who's at 200 right now, like, there's a reason they're only at 200 right now, right? Not all of those people can go say, like, oh, I'll just win a League Cup real quick. Not everyone has that luxury.
I mean, with attendance numbers the way that they are.
You're definitely right. Like, if you're going to go get those League Cup wins, like, now is definitely the time to do it. But at the same time, like, You know?
I agree with you that the market does swing down at this time of the year all the time because a lot of people feel like maybe they're not in it anymore. But do you think realistically that September rolls around and the season starts? Or when does the season start? August, right? Middle of August it begins. So middle of the year
Start getting
starts.
points like to a week before Worlds.
Yeah. So middle of August typically. Do you think that there's thousands upon thousands of people that are like, I'm going to make it this year?
Oh, absolutely.
And right now they're just at the point of, I'm not going to make it.
Yeah. I mean, not everyone's going to make it to Worlds. If everyone could, like, what would be the point?
I don't know. I don't know if, to me, I think that the market has swung down a little bit, mostly because of a staleness in format.
I would say that that's definitely could be a reason. But I would say that has to do that definitely. I would say that's definitely a factor. You know, like no one wants to go to a League Cup and play, you know, either with or against Zoroark, you know, 30 rounds out of 30 if you go to 5 League Cups in a row. But I'd say that has to do less with attendance than the time of the year. But you're definitely not incorrect. Like Ultra Prism really did nothing for the format.
And it wasn't anticipated to be that bad.
No.
I mean, there was a lot of hope with a lot of cards. Garchomp, Lucario, Empoleon, Leafeon, Glaceon, Weavile. Like there was a lot of hope with a lot. And what from Ultra Prism is getting played? Outside of Cynthia, which is a staple in every deck.
Cynthia.
Glaceon gets some love.
Just a
Other
little
than that,
bit.
it's Buzzwole, it's Lycanroc, and it's Zoroark. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That seems stale to me.
It is. It definitely is.
So I think that takes some competitive edge out of it. I mean, there were League Cup results from last weekend where there were 8 players in attendance. 8 players. How do you even do points for that?
I think just the top 4 get points, but it's like the lowest points possible, right? You can literally go, you know, get 4th place out of 8
I think
people.
I think the kicker is actually higher than that. So I think just first and second get points for an 8-player League Cup.
Okay. Still, though, I mean, we play 3 rounds, and then a League Cup with 8 people is basically just a league challenge. Just
It is,
points, right?
because there's no top cut.
Yeah. Crazy.
You need 9 players for a top cut.
It's tough because if you're sitting at 350 to 400 points right now, like a decent amount of players are, you feel like you're qualifying for Worlds. All you got to do is have one decent finish at a regional or one League Cup win or a top at a League Cup, you know, basically to get there, or 2.
Yep.
Where's the incentive of going if it's just going to be the same decks over and over again? I mean, I think it's a combination of the two, but I mean, are you going to drive 2 hours to go to a League Cup to play the same decks over and over again?
You know, I
If I'm
think
at
you have
100 points, I am.
I think you make a really good point with staleness. I think that's why a lot of people in the Pokemon community right now are testing the waters with other competitive TCGs. Like I've seen people trying Dragon Ball Super, and I've seen people trying Final Fantasy. I don't know. We'll see. You know, all these smaller games. That, I mean, you always hear great things from the people that love them, but they never stick around whether or not they're good. Like Pokemon will certainly bounce back, but yeah, right now we're in a lull, and I don't know if it's because of too many tournaments, if it's because of the staleness, if it's because of the time of the year. To be fair, like most things in life, it's probably a mixture, right?
Another reason could be that there's no regionals. You know, we had a 7-week lull in regionals, and people use League Cups often for testing for regionals. You know, well, I've got another 6 weeks to test. Why do I need to go to the League Cup this weekend?
Fair. That's totally possible.
I mean, you have to
Like-
look at it also. If you're a competitive player who already has their invite or is close to their invite, like with the points chase the way that it is, I mean, your top 16 right now is like, if you have a realistic chance at top 16. If you're sitting in, okay, let's go to 50th place right now. 50th place, you're at 429 points. 16th is at 834. So you're halfway there.
And that's assuming that the person in 16th and all the people above him don't continue to keep getting points.
Yeah.
Which, if you're in 16th at this point in the year, you're going to chase to make sure you stay in 16th or higher. But you're absolutely right.
24th place right now is 134 points behind 16th place.
Yeah.
That's crazy separation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're not somebody who's sitting in like 5th, 6th place, somewhere around there, and you're going for top 4, I don't see the benefit of going. I almost feel like the structure needs to be changed a little bit.
Well, I think we can get into our answers for that in a little bit.
I mean, 50 points isn't going to get you there. 100 points isn't going to get you there. So 2 League Cup wins, assuming that the top 16 aren't going to League Cups to make their place known. It's... I don't know. There's just so many flaws, it seems. I don't know how you would fix it. I don't know what you can do. But if you're sitting at, 400, 450 points, you've got your invite. Like, if I'm Carl Kitchen, who's a member of Team DDG, I'm sitting at 430 points. I'm like, well, I might as well test Forbidden Light. That's what Rukan's doing, right?
Yeah, test what you're going to be playing at Nats, because, at this point, like, why bother?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you. There's, like, those at 400 or, like, right around 400. They're just... yeah.
Part of me thinks that, I don't know, like, I get annoyed sometimes because I'm like, to go to a League Cup, it's an all-day thing. Like, where I'm located, and this is a problem that so many people have. Where I'm located, the nearest League Cup is usually an hour and a half, 2 hours away. So you get up Saturday morning, most League Cups start at 10, something like that. So you get up at 7 to get there by 9:30, get checked in, all that good stuff. And then you play 5-6 rounds, maybe a top cut, not getting home until 7-8 o'clock at night. That's an all-day thing. It's fun. It's a lot of Pokemon, but when you do that consistently for 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes sense that attendance drops at this time of the year.
Yeah, for sure. The grind.
So I don't think the argument is necessarily fair that there's too much or that it's oversaturated, because part of me thinks that there's not enough of them. But at the same time, you can understand why people don't necessarily go at this time of the year. And I think that it's a combination of things, but definitely not because there's too many of them. I think it's just the way the system works.
I agree.
All right, we're beating a dead horse. We can move on. Unless there's anything else you want to say.
A horse is a horse, of course. Of course.
No, I don't have anything else to say.
All right, let's get into our next main topic. Our big main topic. So Dead Draw Gaming has been a thing for a year and a half-ish.
We're coming up on 2.
Coming up on 2 from when we were officially founded.
We've got a little over a month to go.
Yeah. I don't really count that because we had no idea what we were doing. I count from when Darren started with us.
Okay. And I've just always counted since the website is open.
Okay. Yeah, it was bad back then.
Darren, what day did you join us?
It was definitely summer.
Wow.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
That narrows it down. Can you give me the time?
Evening. I remember we were it was Madison Regionals, and I'm like, hey, I'll help you with your social media. And you said, right on. I said, I'll do it for free. And you said, oh, great. That's great.
Yeah, June 4th, 2016.
Nice.
Yeah, I like to mirror our start date from the podcast start date.
Ooh, I don't like that.
I mean, to me, I feel like that's when things started clicking more.
We still did a lot before that, though.
I think we're remembering things differently.
So May 20th, 2016 was the day the website officially opened. June 4th, 2016 was the day that Darren joined the DDG ranks. And the first episode of the podcast came out sometime roughly 79 weeks ago.
That's good.
Well, the reason I use that is because that's when we actually started doing more stuff. Like right before you moved here, and yeah, we were a thing already, but it wasn't like Twitch wasn't a thing, YouTube wasn't a thing, the podcast wasn't a thing. It was just, it was just a storefront, and we bought and sold cards, not nearly as much as what we did now or what we do now. I mean, to us, like, our big thing was, hey, we got mats printed. Awesome. That's pretty much it. We hadn't vended anything. We had no idea that we were going to vend something. It was just an idea.
I mean, we knew at that point that eventually we would be doing some of those things. I don't think really thought podcasting was never in the ideas. Podcasting is one of those things that just kind of happened, and once we started it, it was way too good of an idea to stop. But like, YouTube was always a part of it. I feel like we did YouTube even before I moved here. I remember uploading the first video sitting inside the Drecker Brewery with Darren from my phone.
That's funny.
So that was definitely a part of it. Like, but prior to podcasting, YouTube at least, we had players. They weren't a team, but we had articles. It's like we had some of these things, but I mean, even from the start of the podcast to now, like, things are drastically different. And I feel like some, if not most of the things would have happened regardless of if the podcast just opened up more of an audience.
I think it helped establish structure.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm kind of going at with this topic here is, so we'll go for sake of argument and we'll just say we've been around for 2 years, and we'll just call it 2 years, and that's great. We both had this idea, and then Darren came along and he had this idea of how big we wanted to get, what we all wanted to do. And here we are today. And I want to know, do you think we're as big today as what you expected us to be? Are we bigger, or did you expect us to be bigger? And what's your reasoning behind it?
I mean, that's hard. That's hard to answer. I don't really know what I expected. Let's call it 2 years ago. Because it was about 2 years ago this time that Danny and I even started talking about this. And I think that Danny and I started this whole thing with probably not as much preparation as we could have. But I don't really remember what I expected at the point in time. I was just more excited about the idea and what was happening then than I was about what could be and what would happen in the future. I guess I would have to say that I don't think we're smaller than what I expected, but I feel like there are avenues of what we're doing that aren't as big as they could be. And I think that has mostly to do with the three of us having full and part-time jobs plus this on top of it. All of us work our collective butts off every day, and then we add DDG on top of it. And Danny has a family, and like there's a lot of things that I feel like are, I don't want to say in the way of us being bigger than what we are, but just life.
I think you're being vague.
What do you mean?
Well, what specifically are you talking about as far as there's areas I think that aren't where you want them to be or wanted them to be at this point? Like, I understand a generalization of the entire idea, but
we constantly talk about YouTube growing, and it has, but I feel like it could be bigger. That, I think, is one thing that I think our podcast has done really well in growth, like really, really well. I think Twitch is doing okay. It's growing. That could be better too. That's obviously on me. That could be better too. You know, I think our social media outlets, Twitter and Facebook, we could definitely be posting more of. And then the storefront side of things, I think, is at a good spot for where we're at, considering everything else.
okay.
As far as like inventory is concerned, views, sales, etc., just website things. The team being a brand new thing. It's super cool being number one ranked for lineup strength. But I think there's some work to do with, content coming from the team also. And that's something that we got to step up and help those guys get working on their stuff.
Darren, what's your opinion?
So when I came on, I was really excited because you guys were both really excited about this. And I was really thinking of just coming on as more of like an unpaid intern type of thing, like just help you two with something that I already did a lot of, i.e. Facebook and Twitter. I had a social media brand that I had worked on before that never really went anywhere. And so it was, I had some experience, so I was able to bring something to the table. I never expected that I would be an owner of the store. So, fast forward a few months, we decided, hey, let's start a podcast. And it was starting as, just a conference call to help solidify things, help us hash out things and make progress towards our goals, which at the time was opening a physical store. And as the months rolled on, eventually I started the process of moving down there with the hopes of having a physical store, and then that never panned out. So that's kind of my one area that I am disappointed about, that we're not as big as I thought we would be in terms of having a physical presence. And I know that's just how things work. Like, as a business, as a startup, you have to roll with the punches. You got to morph into what you can accomplish, and you got to just do what you can to make it work, right? So coming in, we all had different ideas, and be they vague or very specific, things that we wanted to accomplish with Dead Rock Gaming. Right when I started, for me, my goal was to help you two make something amazing. And now I can say, almost 2 years later, that my goal for Dead Rock Gaming is to be the very best, like no one ever was. So right now, no, we are not as big as we should be. And we have not infiltrated every market. Like, at this time, 2 years in, I think it's not unreasonable that we should have at least one physical store. It's not unreasonable that we should be selling Magic and other card games. The problem here is there's just a lot more work involved on the back end that I personally wasn't aware of before I got into this. Danny, you had some experience selling before with your eBay site. Dan, I don't think you had any card sales experience, so we were kind of in the same boat there. But you're a salesman by trade, so you brought that to the table. Plus, you're a heck of a networker. Everyone's Dan's friend. A lot of Dan fans out there. So, honestly, we brought a lot of different things, and we're still, even almost 2 years later, trying to figure out a way to bring it all together and be as successful as possible. to be more specific, things that I think we can do now to be bigger, because we are absolutely not as big as I want to be. YouTube. Danny, you do a great job with, because like for you listeners, you don't know, Danny handles nearly all of our transactions on a weekly basis, like 99%, and not mostly 100%, honestly. And he still finds time to shoot a vlog for us, and it's always fun. It's always good to listen to him, see his progress in his YouTube studio. So I really appreciate that. Caleb Gedimer, one of our pro players and one of the founding members of Team DDG, fantastic that he provides us with a competitive video every week. And he uploads and edits that on his own every week. So that's hugely helpful, because everything else, except for a few articles, go through me to be edited. And that's kind of my biggest contribution to Dead Dry Gaming right now, which, if you had asked me 2 years ago that I'm going to be an editor-publisher for a card gaming media website, and I mean, it's just oofda. I would not have ever guessed. What we need now is for me to get a camera so I can start recording things when I have time, and for Dan, for you to record some stuff. That would be really great, and then send it to me. And then we got to get on our team, man. Like, it's in spurts, right? Like, we can get them to do some stuff, and then it's like anything, you know. You kind of just gotta stay on top of the things you really want, right? The harder it is, the more effort you got to put in. And I think if we're gonna get bigger, we gotta knuckle down and put in more effort. That's just all there is to it.
I think a lot of what you guys said is fair game on different things. Like, yeah, we have lives. Yeah, we have different things going on. So full-time jobs, part-time jobs, in addition to full-time jobs. And yeah, I have a family. I have a wife and I have a daughter, but you guys have families. Darren has like 1,800 pets and a wife. Dan, you've got basically a wife. I mean, we've all got a lot of stuff that goes on, you know, outside of this business. And it all boils back to me, to the idea and what we all started as. And this goes for any business, anything that you ever try and create. Like, you always have this idea. It's always going to be bigger. It's kind of like getting food. You know, you go and you get a plate of food, and a lot of times it's, you know, you've heard the expression before, your eyes were bigger than your stomach, because it's too much. And I think I don't want to say that's necessarily the part that we're at. I think that we have these dreams and these aspirations of being the best, like no one ever was, and being a contender. I don't think we're anywhere near as big as I thought we'd be at this point. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. Like, it just is what it is. And yeah, there's things that have gotten in the way, but at the same time, a lot of it's on us. I mean, yeah, the pro team, we want more content from them, but that's on us. And sales, that's on us. Like, that's on me. That's on all of us. Like, over the last couple of weeks, I've been buying and selling like crazy, like I haven't done in, years probably. Like, I haven't done this much buying and selling and looking at cards for a long time. Even when we were prepping for Madison last year, trying to figure out good deals on stuff to get stuff in inventory was nowhere near what I'm doing now every day. You know, whether it be combing different websites or messaging people or working out deals with whoever. It's just, it doesn't compare to what I've been doing lately. And organizing is one thing, like getting the studio in order and everything. Like, it's an annoyance because it's a time suck. It's really just for organizational purposes and making sure that the website is accurately updated. And then in the long run, hopefully it'll save time on fulfilling orders. Like, here I am tonight. It's 11:30. We're recording, and I haven't even started fulfilling orders yet. And I've got 11 orders that I need to get packed up, and 11 orders that I've got to go search through all of our cards for. And having them where they're labeled in boxes is going to save me a ton of time, rather than just having, hey, here's all of our holo rares. Here's all of our ultra rares. Like, I literally remember sitting on my basement floor for an hour looking for like one reverse holo rock ruff from Sun and Moon. Gardens Rising. Like, that's terrible. So having them all in a separate box now saves time. Like, it's all about waste and managing that time. But as far as going back to my point, I mean, I thought YouTube would be way bigger. But that's consistency. Like, with YouTube, you have to be consistent. And we haven't been. And I know that. Same thing with Twitch. And I'm hoping that Madison, what we're all doing this year for Madison and what we're investing really puts us on the map. And then we use it as momentum and just move forward and utilize that and get that thirst. I don't want to say necessarily back, but more reinvigorated. Because I think part of it right now is more so we're battling ourselves. I think that's kind of what it boils down to more than anything. I think we're at the point now where it's like, well, what can I do? It's not that we're not doing anything. It's that the time that we're spending doing stuff is thinking about what we should be doing. What can we do to be beneficial right now? And then before you know it, an hour goes by and all you've done is try to think of ideas. And I think that's kind of like almost a chicken running around with its head cut off. Do you guys ever feel that way at all? Like you're just scrambling?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Like, what can I do to be beneficial? And I think all of it just boils down to, I think we have so many hands in the proverbial cookie jar. And we're like last year before Madison, we kind of established more paths, of where we're going to go and what we're going to do, what we're going to be responsible for individually. And that worked for a little while. And then it kind of got lost again to the point now where it's like running around all over the place and not like the ultimate goal is there, but we're just missing on all these different levels to get to that ultimate goal. Like, yeah, the podcast is great and it's been one of our most stable forms of content. But if we look at growth numbers for it, it shot up and now it's leveled off a lot. So it's still growing, but not nearly at the rate that it was before. So where are we missing with that? Same thing with Patreon, shot up and then leveled off. So we're hitting like a plateau now. Same thing with YouTube, same thing with Twitch. Like we've hit a point and it's like a ceiling. How do we get through that ceiling?
The easy answer is marketing.
Okay, how do you market?
Well, that's why I said it's the easy answer. The harder answer is getting into that, I think another easy answer is Madison. There's going to be so many different things that we are doing there that if the people that go to Pokemon tournaments didn't already know who we are, they're definitely going to now. And even those that don't, who watch on Twitch, those who didn't know who we were are definitely going to know now. And I feel like it's helped that we've reached out to some of these different content creators and, different business owners and different article websites and everyone else, where we've started making relationships with not just players in the community, but those other people also, where they're like, yeah, what you guys are doing is great. We'd love to sponsor that.
Yeah, okay.
Or like other people who want to work with us. And
focus on that for a second. So first of all, Madison's going to be great. And I have all the confidence in the world that it's going to be fantastic. The problem with Madison is that it's 2 months away. Or, yeah, 2 months away yet.
Mm-hmm.
So do we really remain level for the next 2 months and then use Madison as a stepping stone to kind of vault us? And then going back to relationships are fantastic if you utilize them properly. But over the last 6 months or so, have we utilized those relationships properly? Because we do have a lot of friends who are YouTube content creators that are 10 times as big as us. We do have a pro team that's 1,000 times better than us. We have relationships all over the place, but what are we doing with those relationships to help us grow? And I think that's kind of where I'm getting at, is like, where is that going? You know what I mean? Like, it's great to be networking, and it's great if I'm like, hey, Professor K, how's it going today? That rhyme wasn't meant to happen, but it did. Anyways, so if I say that to him, and I'm not talking to him about content, and I'm not talking to him about, hey, let's bounce ideas off of each other, let's try and grow our brands, then I'm just wasting a conversation. And I love Chris, and I love talking to him, but it's a waste of a conversation if it's not mutually beneficial to us. And I get that sometimes you just want to kick it, you just want to chill, you just want to enjoy your friendship, and that's totally fine. But if I'm talking to Aaron one night, or I'm talking to Jack one night, and I'm like, hey, Cliffy, what's going on? And I'm not asking him things about that he's super interested in regarding like his business and our business and what we can do to help mutually grow, then I'm doing a disservice to both of us. You know what I mean? Because I'm distracting him from his work. I'm distracting myself from my work. And then we're not getting anywhere. And I feel like over the last several months, like it was great having everybody here for Ultra Prism release. But since then, it's gone the way of the format. Very stale. So why are we missing there?
I feel like maybe we've gotten, if we're speaking at it strictly from a business standpoint, because as you said, like a lot of these people are not just networking partners anymore. Like I look at a lot of them and say that person is my friend. But I feel like maybe we're almost too comfortable in our friendships that maybe it's hard to sit there and be like, yo, let's talk business, because it's definitely harder to talk business. Like it's harder, I feel like, to be professional with someone you know than someone you don't. And when you start calling someone your friend, it's harder to be professional with that person than it is with someone that you need to be professional with, you know, or, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe like a lax in professionalism comes along at some point where you say like, oh, you know, I can just message Aaron and, you know, say, yo, let's go get a pizza or something. Like that doesn't happen now, but you know, and we just hang out and talk, and like that conversation never ends up being about anything other than, you know, just random things and nothing about content, nothing about like what do we do to grow with each other. And I feel like that can definitely happen, and something that probably all of us need to learn. I feel like especially me being kind of, you know, that person is where to draw the line and when to draw the line, and not necessarily, you know, to keep that line there forever, but to know how to talk about business and not have it ruin a personal thing or get in the way of something personal.
Darren, what do you think?
I think there's definitely something there. I'm generally not a very confrontational person. I don't have a lot of sales experience. And so having a professional relationship with someone isn't very extremely natural for me. I would default to friendship. You know, I can definitely see how we haven't been focusing on business with many of our relationships as we should be. And yeah, that's something I personally can work on as well.
Yeah, I don't know what the reason is. I honestly don't. I think kind of going back to what Dan says a little bit, like you get into this mold where you have friendships, and I don't know, it just becomes easier. And I think that the main problem is that this business is convenient. Like we don't worry about Dead Draw Gaming to pay our bills. It'd be nice if we did, but we don't. So at the end of the day, it's a convenience thing. Like, oh, I'm gonna plan out. Let's say, okay, on this Sunday night, I'm gonna plan out 2 hours, set it aside, and I'm gonna shoot a YouTube video with 3 or 4 people. Once that's on the schedule, that means that I can't do anything else for those 2 hours. Right? Like that's not convenient. Like I want this business to be convenient. And that's kind of, I think, where an issue lies in. Like that's part of the tough part about having a business is that for me, it's like, well, you know, then I'll just have to stay up. Like I told you, I haven't packed up orders yet tonight. Well, I'll just stay up late and pack them up. You know, rather than setting aside an hour before the podcast, I decided to do something else for that hour because it's convenient. So I think that's part of where it's missing too. I don't know. It's difficult to understand, but I think we're all in agreement in the fact that we're not where we are, and I think part of that is on us kind of figuring out what we can do both as individuals or all 3 of us as individuals, and then all 3 of us as a group to get to where we want to be. And whether it be setting out a plan and setting out a goal and saying, hey, you know, 6 months from now, we need to be at this point with this specific channel or with this specific channel, and then coming up with an action plan on how to get there and then sticking to it. I don't know. maybe that's the path that we need to take, or maybe not. It's tough because this podcast is supposed to be this fun thing, but it's also supposed to be like a conference call type thing. So I guess I don't know if people really want to listen to us ramble on about this kind of stuff for a while. Yeah. About figuring those items out. But I think it's stuff that all businesses go through.
Yeah.
It's like you go through these lulls.
I feel like this is important. I feel like this kind of talk puts a realism, to the ears of our listeners. And, there are creators out there where it's like, oh, you almost celebritize them. And like, well, it's cool that people are like, oh my gosh, I'm talking to Dead Draw Gaming. At the same time, it's like, we're just normal dudes. And this kind of talk, I feel like, is important for that. But I think one very important thing to remember is like, I'll say two things. One, we definitely can't get ahead of ourselves. And two, when you're doing as many things as we're doing, it's hard to expect them to all grow at the same time without giving them the proper nurturing that they need, right? Is it harder? Is it easier to raise one kid at a time or 7 at a time? I can't answer that question, but I can only imagine that raising 7 kids at one time would be way more difficult than raising one.
I think part of the problem, like you just said, is having so many different things that we're trying to accomplish. You run into situations where you go through identity crises.
Or just like, like mind blocks, where it's like you don't know what to do. And you kind of mentioned that earlier, but it's like, kind of,
Yeah, YouTube is one of those areas too. Like it's tough to come up with good, unique ideas on YouTube. And you don't want to just record content to record content because then you throw stuff out there and you could do damage to your channel. So that's difficult. But meanwhile, there's other channels that are blowing up and it's like you look at that and you're like, wow, what are we missing here? And a lot of it is just unique content that comes out. Like it's great that we post the podcast on YouTube, and it's great that we have Caleb's deck box that comes out every week. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing that's really super unique. You know what I mean? Consistently. Yeah. I think part of it's just going to boil down to coming up with a plan. And I agree, Madison can be absolutely huge for us. But I think a lot of that's going to lie in on how we do Madison and then what we do after Madison. I think that there's a real opportunity here as far as marketing goes, going back to what you were saying before, Dan, to have the biggest stream of the year as long as we market it properly. Because we do have a big audience that we can penetrate and we can reach out to.
True.
But we don't have to go through this anymore. We can move on.
Let me say one last thing. The biggest thing that I've taken from this discussion is that we can't keep resting on our laurels. Like we have to do dead draw stuff even when it isn't convenient. That's what I got out of this. So like even if it's more convenient to watch an episode of The Office, I shouldn't do that. I should instead do something for dead draw.
Are you asking or telling?
I'm
telling himself.
I'm telling myself to stop watching The Office for 2 minutes and do something for dead draw.
Thank Lord for 2 monitors. I'm just playing.
So when everyone listening, I am not currently watching an episode of The Office. I have our Discord open and our Audacity and our voice meter and a Bulbapedia page open. That's what I have right now.
Oh, I bet I know what you have that Bulbapedia page open for.
You never guess.
Our weekly top 5?
That's it. That's the reason.
Whoa. Weekly top 5.
Hey, there we go.
This week we are talking about what is the best 5 dual typings in the game. So like when we say that, what we mean, or in the game, just in Pokemon in general, like what's the mine kind of have a rank of like good and cool. And by dual, we just mean like when you pair 2 typings together, you get the best finished product.
Yeah, mine's just a rank of coolishness because I don't know anything about typing really. I just like the typings.
I like it. Mine is mostly just of being goodness.
All right. Well, I'll start out since nobody else wants to jump ahead. And I'm going to start out with Fire and Ice as my number 5.
Can you name one fire and ice type Pokemon, please?
I would have to Google it.
It doesn't exist.
There are none.
There are
Really?
0.
But it is a type.
It's
right.
2 types.
It is
There
two.
are currently no Pokemon with that typing.
But
Well,
who's
why
to
it's
say?
number 5.
Yeah, who's to say there won't be in the near future? We just got our first fire
Nintendo
water
Switch.
type.
Is that the only dual typing that there's not one currently in existence?
No, there's quite a few.
Really?
There's
Well,
18 types. I mean, that's a lot.
guess
when
we'll
you
see if
consider
I
it
hit
all.
another one.
Oh, you might.
Yeah,
Dude, let me.
a Alolan Primeape.
Alolan Primate could definitely be Fire Ice.
Fire and ice.
I think it was Call of Legends where he was Fire, was his typing.
You're talking about not
The
Call of
TCG.
Legends.
Here it is. EX Holland Phantoms.
Yep,
There it is.
Neat.
got him.
All right, Dan, what's your number 5?
Ice/Steel.
Ice
Nice.
/ Fire. Good one.
That's not what I said.
My
Ice
number
and
5.
Steel, which is
No, you say it. Ice and Steel
Alolan
is who?
Sandslash, which is actually the only one.
Shanshrash. Very nice. Proud of you. My number
What's yours,
5.
Jared?
I'm just trying to get us through this top 5. You know, we're kind of going over here. We're going overtime. We got
We're having a
plenty of
good time.
podcasts left. All right. Number 5 for Darren is all about that steel type. We're going with steel water type.
Ooh,
Very
'Cause I
nice.
like that Empoleon.
Empoleon. Is that the only one? That's the only one, right?
Yeah, it is actually.
Nutty.
My number 4 is Electric Fighting.
Nice.
Ooh.
Don't
Name
have
There's
an
another
electric
one.
Fighting type Pokemon, Danny.
That's another one without a Pokemon yet. Yet.
Gosh, I'm really gonna like Pokemon when they start making these.
Yeah, you will. You will.
I'm trying to. I can't think of any that. Yeah, that doesn't exist.
I feel like I have at least one more.
Good. Good.
My
good,
number
good.
4 is Steel and Ghost. I really like Steel. Steel. If we did just single typing, Steel would be number 1.
Oh, yeah. Steel is so
Yeah.
good. Yeah, mine.
But Steel Ghost is my number 1, which is just the Honedge, Doublade, and Aegislash line.
Not bad. Not bad. Great. Really great Pokemon.
Yeah, Aegislash is busted.
My number 4 is Ghost Dark. So,
Ooh.
Ghost Dark type, for those of you who didn't know, used to have 0 weaknesses until fairies came
Gen
around.
6.
Yep.
Well, there's 2 or 3.
I can't remember now.
At
I know.
least 2. Sableye,
Sableye.
Spiritomb.
Yeah, there you go. Sableye Spiritomb used to have no weaknesses until the fairies showed up, ruined everything.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think I got one for you as my number 3.
Ooh, hit me.
I don't know of any Pokemon that are this type that I actually like, but I have an idea that in the future maybe they'll make a Pokemon of this typing that I really enjoy, and that would be Steel Poison.
You are so good at this, Danny.
Is there no
There's
Steel
none.
Poison?
I don't think so.
There are 0.
Gosh, I'm making this game better.
This is a lot of fun. This is really good. Danny, what you're
The
doing
chances-
is you're mapping out
chances
Gen
of-
8.
The chances
Yeah.
of me guessing how many like all of them not being in existence is so not realistic.
Oh, boy.
Dan, what's your number 3?
Electric Fire,
That's pretty good.
which I also only think there's one of.
I can find out in 2 seconds. Yep, there's only one.
Heat Rotom.
That's it. Heat Rotom's so good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Such a cool Pokemon. I love just all the Rotoms. I really like them all. I hate the new TCG cards that came out on Ultra Prism. Stupid, but just the Pokemon designs really cool.
Yeah, I agree. My number 3 is Water Fire.
Ooh.
Ooh, very close to Ice Fire.
That's right. Yep, that Volcanion though.
Volcanion.
All right, I'm sure I've got one this time. And my number 2 is Dragon Fighting.
We're gonna look it up.
I don't think so.
No, there's 2.
Dragon Knight's got to be one. Right?
Como. Oh, and Hakmo? Is that the only 2?
Como and Hakumo.
Yep, those are the 2. Hakumo and Komo.
Those are ugly Pokemon.
But
I
you
the
like
typing.
their typing.
I like their typing.
It actually is a really cool typing. Clinging Scales is a super good move. But yeah, I hate the design on those Pokemon also.
Yeah.
The coolest one is the basic, the Jangmo.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one.
I'll agree with that.
My number 2 is Ground Electric. And this one I went based on like
Alolan Golem?
no, Alolan Golem is Rock Electric. This one I just went based on how good this typing is. There's not a Pokemon that has like really good stats with this typing. But this typing is just like busted. It doesn't have a lot of weaknesses, and it hits super effective on like 8 types.
Wow, it's pretty decent.
Yeah. Well, maybe not quite 8, at least 6. But also, it's only, I think Stunfisk is the only.
Stunfisk. All right,
All right,
my
Darren.
number two goes to one of the strongest dual types in the game. Some would argue the strongest, Steel Fairy.
Yep.
And that goes to Mawile, Klefki, Magearna, and Mega Mawile.
Does Fairy resist fire?
I believe so.
Does steel resist itself?
No.
It can't, because metal's that means what, ground and metal would be the only weaknesses. That's way too good.
So Fairy Steel is weak to fire and is weak to ground, and then has a ton of resistances.
I thought Fairy resisted fire.
I guess not.
Interesting. I learned
When I
something
came up
today.
with this question of the week, Dan was like, what do you mean by this? And he's like the most into this question, this top 5 that he's been into any
Fairy
single
does
one.
not resist fire. All right. So fire and ground are the only.
Yeah, Dan, you're loving this. You're loving this top 5, right?
Because metal does resist itself. So yeah, fire and ground. Busted.
He's
just
loving
Guys,
ignoring
I
us because
really
he's so
like the video
excited.
game. I really do. And like,
You prove it so well with how far you are in Ultra Sun.
okay, I don't like Ultra.
Shreked.
I'm just about finished with Pokemon Crystal.
Oh my. Danny,
All right, are you
number
ready for
1.
my number 1? All right. I really don't know if this one. I mean, it's a typing, but I don't know. But it's so cool. Rock Ghost.
All right.
Nope. No, it does not.
0.
There's going to be like an
How did
Alolan
you name 4
Mischievous.
types that don't have
Holy smokes.
any Pokemon?
Almost
Or
a clean
Gengar.
sweep.
Be awesome.
I
This was
actually
good.
looked through every single Pokemon in the Pokedex to make sure that when I wrote down a type, it existed.
Well, you're missing out.
I
And
guess.
so is TPC, and so is TPCI.
Yeah. Well, some great ideas you got there.
Yeah.
So my number 1 went to Dark Steel.
Ooh.
That's really good.
So 4 is that 4? 3 of mine included Steel.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
that one
the
goes to Bisharp.
Bisharp, dude, Bisharp is so good in the video game.
Such a good Pokemon.
Well, yes. And my number 1 is good old Water Grass. You'd never guess which Pokemon is water and grass.
Is there only that line? There's got to
Yep.
be something else.
Is it
right?
Bruxish?
No.
Oh.
Bruxish is psychic in water, I believe.
Yeah.
But it's
Psychic things make you
Ludicolo.
good.
It's
Did you
Ludicolo,
know-
you guys.
I was
Water
just
grass.
joking, Darren.
Ooh,
That's okay. Hey, I don't hate Bruxish. It's just really ugly. So that's why it's my spirit Pokemon.
It's a clownfish.
Yeah.
Just
Those are
like
the
Darren.
only Wow, that line's the only water grass types.
Oh, gross. Hey, so for all of you listeners, I had the ultimate cheat sheet pulled up here. PokemonDB.net/type/duel. It had all the information that Dan spent a bunch of time looking up at my fingertips. So get wrecked, Dan.
.net/type/what?
Duel.
Busted.
Yeah, it's really nice. And super shout out to the worst dual type. Are you ready for this? Ice and Rock.
Can I guess?
I already said it.
Ice and Rock.
You got it. Ice and Rock.
Ooh.
Not Ice and Fire.
Well, that's way wouldn't be, I don't think. Actually, no, it'd be pretty bad.
I think it would be bad.
Yeah, it'd be pretty bad. Both of those types have a lot of weaknesses.
Ice and Fire. Yeah, Ice makes up a majority of... Ice and Grass both have a lot of weaknesses. They make up a majority of
Fire
the worst typings.
1, 2. Fire and Ice both have 4 weaknesses. And I think they only have 1 resistance added when paired together, which would be... Or like one, they lose... Fire is like the only thing that would not be weak to one of the types anymore.
Well, Fire and Ice, let's see here.
Because Fire resists itself.
Weak to water, weak to fighting, weak to ground, 4x weak to rock. This is a pretty normal dual typing, I would say. Fire Ice doesn't seem that bad. Danny, go work for Game Freak.
No, it seems pretty bad.
We could have just had this as a main topic, I think, this week.
Yeah, I think so.
This is the longest we've spent on a weekly top 5.
Yes, Sorry. It is. Very sad about that.
Yeah, I'll take the fall on that one.
All right. Well, I think we're all set then to move on to our Darren.
Question of the week. Question of the week. Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you. Question of the week. Last week was all about BFLs. Did you think that we need to change BFLs for regionals? Is 0 BFLs good? 2, 8, 47 BFL? You know, we just wanted any response, and we got a couple, so that was nice. Let's go over to our Discord channel. Question of the week. We got a response from... First response comes from DDG Corey. Corey said, I don't think BFLs fix the pay-to-win issue. If you set the BFL too low, then popular players aren't incentivized to travel. Set it too high, and players may still play in tournaments to replace finishes. Cameron responded with 6 to 8 regionals and 2 international championships. Chris responded with make top 16 only go off of regionals, separate cups and challenges, 2 cup finishes, 1 challenge finish, and maybe 2 best finishes from regionals as well. Man, that's getting real specific. Thank you, Chris. I like that. Specificity. And yeah, that's all we have from Discord. Let's hop over to the Facebook. Doody-doo. Doody-doo. And for the first time, maybe ever, we got no responses from Facebook. So, moving on to... Did we get any Twitter responses? Alright, well, that was a very quick question of the week response. That's a nice juxtaposition to our super crazy long top 5. So, question of the week last week is complete. We heard you all loud and clear. BFLs are mostly just fine as they are. At least it's not that big of a deal.
I don't agree with that at all. I don't actually think anyone thinks it's okay as it is.
That's possible.
Do you guys remember when we did the special edition podcast after Worlds with Sam Chen and Jimmy Pendarvis?
I remember doing it.
Sam Chen had a really good answer to this question. I don't remember exactly what it was off the top of my head.
Perfect.
But if you guys are interested, go back and listen to it.
There you go. There's the tie-in.
I think that I cannot answer this question because I don't know what the best system is or how to implement a best system, but I think that everyone can agree that it's flawed.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Personally, what would I do for a BFL? I wouldn't hate seeing 2 regional finishes. per quarter. That leaves it open to plenty of points for casual players to go to regionals if they want to. Like if you're going, and then if you're chasing top 16, two regionals. I mean, even the best players don't day 2 every regionals they go to, so it's not unreasonable that if you're going to travel for every regional anyway, that you're not going to be losing many points by having a 2 BFL, but it would maybe deter you from, if you got a top 8 or a top 4, to dropping, another day 2. Like, I don't know. It's like you said, it's tough math. We'll see. I hope they do something at least, right? It would be nice if they just do something.
Yeah, they got to do something.
All right, question of the week for this week. This week, we're going to stay in line with our third main topic, which was our top 5. What is your favorite dual type and why?
And it doesn't have to exist as a Pokemon.
That's right. That's right.
I feel like this question is difficult, I feel like, because, I mean, it was really hard for me to not just pick my favorite Pokemon. Because
that's what I did.
My favorite Pokemon is a dual type. Rock and ground. Or excuse me, steel and ground.
Yeah. What?
I don't know why I said rock. Because rock,
he rocks.
Steel and ground,
Rock
Yeah,
Wicks.
rocks. Rocklicks.
No, bonus challenge listeners. If you can give us your favorite dual type and it doesn't currently have a Pokemon, make one.
Ooh.
Draw me a picture.
Yeah, draw a picture and tweet us at DeadDrawGaming.
Yeah. Draw a little picture and send it to our email or tweet it at us or on our Facebook. Literally anywhere that you want to message us, we want to receive your message. We'd really like it. All right. Most awkward question of the week ever complete.
Nice. All right, well, let's quickly segue into our buy-sell trade of the week section, which is pretty short and sweet this week. So last week I talked about how I got scammed. That was fun. Still waiting to get that money back, which is fantastic. I have to wait until April 17th, which bothers the heck out of me. It is what it is. I digress. I'm having a really bad week. I found a Gold Star Pikachu on eBay for $115 or $118 or something like that as a buy it now. And I looked at the pictures. Everything looked really good. And in the description, it even said everything was near mint on it. It does have some surface scratches on the foil, so that's why he listed it as near mint instead of mint. And I looked at the pictures, didn't see any edge wear. Everything looked perfect. So I added it to my cart, typed in a promo code that was going on. It was like $105. And this thing on buy lists is like $210. So I would have doubled my money easily just by turning it right away to another vendor. So I buy it, wake up the next morning, the money's refunded. I'm like, what is going on here? So I look again, I look through eBay again. Sure enough, this Pikachu Gold Star is relisted at $250. So I messaged the guy and I'm like, hey dude, first of all, I bought this card for $105. Why did you refund me my money and then relist it for $250? And he said, oh, I'm sorry. I felt like I didn't do a good job with the condition report of it. So I figured I would just repost it and refund you your money. So that way you don't have to go through PayPal claims or something like that when you get it. And I responded because I was in a foul mood. And I said, really? Because it looks to me like you figured out that your card was worth more money, second guessed yourself, and then relisted it to get double the price on it. He never responded to that one. So
negative feedback.
Yeah, I've had some really bad luck. Usually things go well. Things are not going well right now. Anyways, as far as actual buys go, a lot of staples, a lot of staples. And then I did get some just regular Art GXs, nothing fantastic in. A couple of good buys. I got a lightly played / near mint full art Darkrai EX from Dark Explorers. That card is like my favorite card art ever. So I paid $40 for that. It's probably not that expensive of a card. It's only like $60 right now, so it's not a huge profit margin, but it's sentimental to me because I just like the card art so much. And then my best buy of the week was 2 Gold Star Flareons. One of them's light play and one of them's near mint, but I paid I don't remember what it was. I think it was $112 for both of them, which is super awesome because
Yeah, that's great.
It's over $100 by itself for just one. So that's it. That's my buy sell trade of the week, which I don't
Nice.
sing because my
Oh, we do enough
Buy-sell
singing.
trade of the week.
No, that's the line. We don't sing the buy sell trade.
All right,
all right.
I take it back.
So let's move into our open discussion. The only thing I want to say, I talked about Forbidden Light last week. We only have a few boxes left for pre-order, so get your pre-order in now if you want it.
Ooh,
Secondly,
one?
nope, I announced
Correct.
last week that we were partnering up with a website called Pokevault, which you can buy exclusive Japanese Pokemon Center items. This went out on Facebook last week, Thursday. We're partnering up with them. We're going to be working with them for the Madison stream. They're one of our big stream sponsors for the event. Brian is the name of the owner. He's a super fantastic guy. Just a lovely, lovely chap. And he's got a Facebook page. The website's outstanding. If you are looking for Japanese cards, plushies, sleeves, deck boxes, anything from the Japan Pokemon Center, he's got it. Just a huge inventory. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at his website, but it's awesome. If you go check out anything over there and you see something you like, make sure to type in the promo code DEADDRAW, all capital letters, when you check out, and you get 10% off your order.
That is hype. Oh,
Yeah,
that's really
it. That's
great.
all I've got for open discussion.
Dang, Armin.
I just typed Steelix into Pokevault.com and I'm just like going through all the stuff that I don't have already. Like, wow. There's like dollar stickers on here. I'm probably
I
gonna
feel like you get
nab some of
distracted a
those
lot
too.
during the podcast.
Why do you feel like that?
Well, I mean, our weekly top 5 was kind of all over the place. Now,
That is-
our open discussion, you're kind of all over the place.
Got him.
This is the point where I can talk about anything, right?
Yeah, you can talk about whatever you want.
Ooh, had a good time watching WrestleMania this week.
You did.
All right,
Who
Darren,
won?
Darren, what do you got?
I want to know who won People Anime.
Brock Lesnar won. That's a name most people recognize.
Brock Lesnar won, huh? Well, that's
Isn't he
really
getting
nice.
Old? Isn't he going back to UFC?
No, not now.
Not anymore because he's old. All right. For Darren, a little bit of Pokemon Go. Otherwise, just working my butt off. I'm almost done with my safety classes. So that'll be a whole nother evening that I have free for Dead Draw stuff. That'll be really nice.
Nice.
I'm over these safety classes. I have one left. Ugh. Anyway,
They sound
no, that's
amazing.
it. That's it. That's all I got. Nothing special here. Just chugging along.
Dan, anything else you got?
No, but this pin is super cool. The Steelix pin on here.
All right, guys, go to Pokevault.com, buy something for Dan, use the promo code DEADDRAW, and you'll get 10% off your order. And with that, Dan, why don't you take us home?
All right. So, you guys, if you enjoyed episode number 79 of Dead Draw Gaming, a Pokemon TCG podcast like no one ever was, make sure to hit that like button down below and share this podcast with all of your friends. That is all we have for you this week. Make sure to join us next week for episode number 80, where I can tell you about all the cool Steelix stickers I bought. But that's all we have for you guys this week. So, for Danny, for Darren, and for myself, Dan, we will see you next time.